Hello, and a warm welcome to Reddit Echo.
There's a special kind of silence that exists on long, dark roads late at night. It's a silence that seems to swallow sound, broken only by the hum of your own engine, a sound that can slowly, insidiously, lull you to sleep. This is the story of how that silence nearly cost me everything. It was about 2 years ago. I was driving home from a family reunion, a lovely but exhausting day that had stretched far into the night. The clock on my dashboard glowed a persistent 10:17 p.m. I had a 2-hour drive ahead of me, and I'd chosen to power through instead of staying over because I had a critical meeting first thing in the morning. A decision that, in hindsight, was a terrible miscalculation. The route was one of those forgotten backroads that crisscross the countryside. The kind you see in thrillers, 2 narrow lanes, hemmed in by an impenetrable wall of pine trees and shadowy undergrowth. Your headlights carve out a tiny, fragile pocket of reality in an ocean of pure black. Every so often, the blinding glare of an oncoming car would wash over me, a fleeting moment of connection before plunging me back into profound isolation. I'd been driving for about 45 minutes when the fatigue hit me like a physical blow. It wasn't just drowsiness, it was a deep, systemic shutdown. My vision blurred at the edges, and my head would nod forward before I'd jerk it back up, my heart leaping into my throat. I knew, with a chilling certainty, that I was a danger to myself and anyone else on the road. I started scanning the shoulders desperately for a rest stop, a gas station, any lit sign of safety. But there was nothing, just the endless, consuming darkness. My logic, frayed by utter exhaustion, began to twist. The rational fear of crashing began to be outweighed by a primal, illogical fear of the dark itself. But I had no choice. I saw a break in the tree line, a small, unpaved pull-off mostly hidden by tall grass and thorny bushes. It looked like a grave. With a sinking feeling, I guided my car off the asphalt, the tires crunching on gravel and dirt. I nudged the vehicle further in, trying to hide it from the view of any passing motorists. The branches scraped against the metal like long skeletal fingers. I locked all the doors, a hollow gesture that felt pitifully inadequate. I reclined my seat just a few inches and took one last clear look at the clock. The digital numbers were seared into my memory. 11:22 p.m. Then I closed my eyes and surrendered to the overwhelming tide of sleep. I don't know how long I was out before the sound pierced my unconsciousness. A scraping, scratching noise, metallic, intentional. It was right outside my window. My eyes flew open, adrenaline jolting through my system. I was disoriented, my mind still thick with sleep. I looked at the clock. 11:50 p.m. I'd been asleep for less than half an hour. As suddenly as it started, the sound stopped. In my groggy state, I clung to a rational explanation, a stray branch, a curious raccoon. My body's need for sleep was a powerful drug, smothering the spark of fear. I closed my eyes, and the darkness took me once more. The second time, there was no rationalizing it. I was jolted awake by the same sound, but this time it was different. It wasn't random. It was a persistent, rhythmic scratch. 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 It was methodical. My blood turned to ice water in my veins. I looked at the clock. 12:40 a.m. Almost a full, exact hour since the first time. My mind, now screamingly awake, raced through terrifying possibilities. An animal. Why would it be so persistent? Why would it return after so long? And then, the old urban legend I had heard as a teenager surfaced in my mind with terrifying clarity. The story of the hook-handed man who stalked lovers' lanes, scratching on car doors, waiting for someone curious enough to step out into the night. That's when I looked into my rearview mirror. And I saw it. A dark, man-shaped silhouette, just as it detached itself from my car and darted with unnatural speed into the blackness of the forest. It moved like a shadow, fluid and fast. That was all the confirmation I needed. A cold terror seized me. I turned the key, the engine roaring to life in the oppressive silence. I slammed my foot on the accelerator, the tires spinning wildly before grabbing the earth. I swerved back onto the asphalt without a second thought. My only goal, to put as much distance as possible between me and that cursed spot. My heart was a frantic drum against my ribs. I gripped the steering wheel, my hands slick with sweat. I focused on the yellow lines in the road, my lifeline away from that place. About 100 yards ahead, the road curved sharply. As I navigated the bend, my headlights swept across another vehicle, a sedan, parked haphazardly on the shoulder, and the driver's side door was gaping wide open, an invitation to the void. Against every screaming instinct, I slowed for just a moment. My eyes darted inside the car. It was empty. A cold knot of dread tightened in my stomach. Where was the driver? Almost against my will, my eyes flicked up to the rear-view mirror. The road behind me was empty, dark. And then, from around the corner I had just passed, a man came sprinting. He wasn't just running, he was charging, his movements fueled by a frantic, terrifying energy. He started screaming, his voice raw and cutting through the night. "Hey, you! Stop the car! Get out now!" I didn't think. I didn't hesitate. I stomped the gas pedal to the floor. The engine screamed in protest, and my car shot forward like a bullet. I didn't look back. I drove with a single-minded intensity, my eyes constantly flicking between the road ahead and the rear-view mirror, expecting to see him in pursuit. I didn't stop until I saw the glorious blinding lights of a 24-hour truck stop, a beacon of safety in the terrifying night. I never reported it to the police. What would I say? But I know what I heard. I know what I saw in that mirror. The moral of this story is not just to avoid sleeping on deserted roads. It's to listen to that primal voice inside you that knows the difference between paranoia and instinct. It's a reminder that in the deep, dark silence, you might not be as alone as you think. And sometimes, the most dangerous thing lurking in the shadows isn't a ghost or a monster, but a very real person, waiting for a tired soul to make a single, desperate mistake.
Don't want to lose this channel and always be up to date with new videos? Then make sure to subscribe. The story continues, and it's only getting more interesting.